I love the way your generation sums things up so eloquently.
How is it when a franchise continues to make the same movie, same one-note characters, same predictable ending, same overall setup, yet somehow it keeps making money? Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third installment, almost a decade later, doesn't really do anything new aside from new characters. You'd think people get sick of it, but I may know why they haven't. The epitome of getting off on spectacle and just being fun, Now You See Me should have probably concluded with, at the very most, one movie. Not from a profit standpoint, that'd be a terrible idea. Just ask Disney.
Oh, fuck. You just fucked up real bad.
Alright, that failed. But the charm of magicians and magic-themed fight set pieces and twist endings you'd surely not see coming, these movies really have mastered the art of knowing what sticks and changing almost nothing. Which really makes me wonder for a fourth movie how many can go this way, but having flaws aplenty yet still proving profitable, I don't see the formula changing anytime soon. The issues with this movie are nothing new, characters lack any depth, are mostly one note, they occasionally have something going on, it usually just goes away, such as our lead magician Atlas, he had feelings on stuff, or one of our new magicians, Leroy, who didn't like Atlas that much, while the other two new magicians did. It's definitely a thing that was in the movie. And the main selling point, the magic, the way the tricks play out, to keep the plot moving, the spectacle, is nice to look at, but also a bit ridiculous. Like any of these movies, suspension of disbelief is needed quite heavily. I can look past that, I get it's the whole point, but the narrative that ties this together is the same shit. I honestly don't get why part 2 was disliked more than part 1. I know it took itself too seriously, but it did at least have a few engaging scenes, such as the bit with the safe. It was suspenseful until you find out what was going on at the end, but you didn't know that then. There's a sense of continuation, though not a very strong one, and something I don't see with this new movie. The plot to that feels like an excuse to give us stuff to look at, and while I hate to admit it, I can kind of see where the charm is. The issues are still prevalent, it has very little suspense, as you know, it's gonna work out, and if you've seen the first two, you have a good idea of how it's gonna work out. It occasionally tries to be serious, maybe even deep. That falls flat, only beat out by one of Amber Heard's testimonies, and it all leads to another lackluster conclusion, with only a slight standout detail. It's not much. The thing is, opposed to other movies that keep rehashing the same idea, they rehash the same idea, but it was a unique idea. That is, using magic for a plot the way only this franchise does. In the beginning, you didn't know what to expect, and despite 3 movies in, you can't deny the enjoyment of seeing these magicians use their skills in elaborate fight scenes. Even if it's ridiculous, and usually makes no sense. It's not about the story or how it gets flipped around at the end, it's just a thing you can't help but somewhat enjoy. You may even deem it a feel-good movie, because when you watch it, you feel good. My guilty pleasure at the least, but I'm glad that I saw this one. It's not a thing that I say often because it's so inherently obvious they're not doing anything new, like they know they don't have to. Like I said, the new cast brings very little, with only slightly different personalities that kinda just fade in. I think the younger cast in Expendables 3 had more of an impact. But as cliche as it may sound, I think there is some magic in this magic-themed franchise. Just not in the writing. While some say it's nice to have Henley back, I couldn't honestly care less. I actually prefer Lula. In fact, I'd go as far to say she's the best character, because memorable, she has a personality nobody else does. One of the best moments in the movie is her intro. It's a real clever callback, but that and a moment at the end is the best of what the movie adds. It's just fun entertainment, you can't deny that. The pacing isn't really bad either. It's anticlimactic, that's the biggest downside. The villain is one of the least interesting of any of these movies. They throw in some modern references, even the pandemic gets mentioned. It doesn't add much either, aside from dating it, but given how they basically just made the same movie, it may be a good thing. Overall, I'm not gonna say I'm pleased with a 10-year wait for almost the same movie. I mean, imagine a real improvement.
Highly imaginative, incredibly inventive.
But a fun time it is, a time you don't get with any other franchise, at least not like this. I was hoping the wait would mean something, but it is what it is.
Could have been worse, John. A lot worse.
Will the franchise keep getting a pass? Most likely. Which makes me wonder why it took so long to get a new movie. Well, let me know what you thought about Now You See Me, Now You Don't down in the comments. Make sure to like the video, consider subscribing, sharing if that's possible, and hitting the bell is imperative as without it, you won't get notified. Recommendations don't come. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, money is the true magic. That's kind of the whole point here.